Today's episode of the Sleepers Podcast is brought to you by the Sleepers. Yes, the Sleepers are the only entity stupid enough to sponsor their own podcast. In fact, I paid myself $100 to do this ad read right now, which means Carter gets 50% of that. Carter, check your phone right now. You just received a $50 Venmo from me. I am not kidding, my friend. Good morning.
I can't believe you actually just sent me a $50 Venmo.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, man.
How we doing? The cut looks good.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been wearing a hat for a minute on Sleepers episodes because I've been in barber limbo. I've been a free agent for a new barber and found one on IG. And let's just say I'll be back, okay? Because the cut is hitting. I'm feeling great right now.
It's a scary place to be, barber limbo, especially if you've listened to your previous thoughts on barbers. How was the conversation? I'm more concerned about that than the haircut. Like, do we have good chemistry here? Do we have good vibes?
Yeah, we do. He's a younger dude. He's got a nice little shop, little one-seater shop, good vibes, artwork, TV. We had some Gunna blasting while I was getting the cut. It was the vibes were there and the cut was pristine, absolutely immaculate. I'm feeling great.
Did he make you miss your ex?
No, he didn't.
Wow. Wow. No, I meant like ex-barber. You get it.
No, he didn't. He didn't. No, because I think the best part about it is like this dude was a little bit younger. My other barber was like so old. He was like not so old. I'm sorry. He was old school. Like he wrote everything down in his like notebook that he's had for 50 plus years. He like wrote everything down, like appointments getting crossed up. I needed some more modern technology used in this. I made my appointment online. I paid online. I showed up, got my cut. He took his time, no rushing, and the results are just absolutely immaculate. I'm going to be doing this a lot this episode. For everyone's watching on YouTube, there's going to be left turn, right turn happening multiple times.
Yeah, and I can't let you do this to me, so I am getting a cut about 45 minutes after this episode ends. Now, keep in mind, my cut is from Sports Clips, so...
Are we at least making some type of steps? Are we gonna pick one person at Sports Clips?
I'll see who's working. I mean, I'll probably go in the app. I'll go in the app and see like who's available today. And if I remember the name, I got a couple names. I got 2 names I remember that did a good job. So
for Christmas this year, no bullshit, I'm getting you like a membership to some salon or barber out there, and you're gonna go to them for at least 6 months, and it's gonna change your life.
We'll see how it goes. Good episode yesterday. Fun time. 25 comments to get to today. And then we have some, I think, fun topics today. Maybe first time topics for us on this show, not doing the old repetitive, we're talking about the same teams over and over again. We heard the feedback. You want some different teams, some different topics. So we're going to give that a try. We're going to talk some Team USA. There's a Big Ten team that is slept on by me, specifically, that we're going to break down. And then finally, after that, we are going to go to the third topic that I just completely forgot about right now. Oh, the Detroit Lions. That's on brand. I'm forgetting about the Lions like everybody usually does, but not this year because the Lions look great. But first, 25 topics today. Carter from Reese Williams. He says, keep up the great work, guys. You are an everyday listen and appreciate all the great insights. Thank you, Reese. That means a lot. We all know the first quarter to half of a season with Izzo is beyond frustrating as he tinkers with rotations. Do you see a world where that is less frustrating this year simply due to the depth on the roster?
Maybe a little bit less frustrating, but it's still definitely going to be some level of frustration with some of maybe the lineup combinations that are out there. But, like I always say, like I mentioned before, him having that depth, him having all those tools in his toolboxes. I haven't used that phrase in a couple of episodes. It feels good to bring it back out. It's not going to be like, oh shit, I got to watch the certain players of the world get on the court. Like there's going to be talent on the court with who's on this roster. So it'll be a lot less frustration, but you best believe we might get a like Xavier Booker at the 3, Kohler at the 4, Carson Cooper at the 5 lineup, and Sissoko being a swing 2 or something. Like we could get some stupid shit like that.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be less frustrating. I think if you look back historically, the teams that I have had the biggest complaints with as far as rotations go for Tom Izzo have been his most talented teams and his deepest teams. And this is up near the top. Like if you made a chart where the x-axis is talent and the y-axis is depth, this team is in the upper quadrant in both. So yeah, that opens the door for like, why is he playing Jackson Kohler more than he's playing Xavier Booker? Why is he playing Trey Holloman and not Jeremy Fears? It just is a highly likely outcome. And look, Michigan State fans will probably criticize my criticisms of it. I'm no stranger to that relationship. But we're also, I will say, Car, I think if there is a criticism coming from us or from me this year, it's going to be that he's not playing the freshman. It won't be anything he's doing with like starters, really. I don't think. Like, I'd be fine if he cycles in and out the guards, even as good as they are. Like, you just need two of those guys on the floor at once. Center's a revolving door. My biggest complaint is going to be like if Jeremy Fears is playing 5 to 8 minutes a game, I'm going to be mad. If there's random wings playing more minutes than Malik Hall, I'm going to be upset. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Seal Wah says, didn't know I needed Greg singing Drake, but it's truly life-changing. Also, I need y'all starting 5 Big Ten coaches and their positions to win Cart's Men's League Championship. First of all, I did listen back to that because I wanted to hear how stupid we sounded when we were trying to find the Drake song. It's kind of funny listening to us try to solve that. Credit to us for solving it also. Like, that was a nice little tag team effort there.
Yeah, for all my dogs. We figured it out though. I have the easiest starting 5 for the men's league. First of all, you have Hoiberg at the 3. That's our star player too. Hoiberg's at the 3. Give me Holtman at the 1. Give me Jawan at the 5. At the 4, give me Brad. Give me Enforcer. Give me Underwood. And then at the 2, that's a tough one. At the 2, give me Willard. Give me Willard at the 2.
Okay. Willard seems like the most cardio ready of a lot of the available options.
Wow, are we fat shaming on this podcast?
We're not fat. I'm just saying. I was gonna throw Painter out. Painter played in college, and well, I'm sure all these guys probably played in college, but I know Painter had a pretty decent playing career. But might not want him in the 5. Just saying. I don't know. Willard looks more game ready than that. I like that group. I think you're right that Hoiberg's the star. Brad at the 4 is like, I wonder what Brad's game is actually like. Like, is he Dane Danger? Is he like Marcus Smart in a big body? Like,
I feel like he's like, I don't know, anger management Kobe Walden.
I think we have a different perception of Brad's capabilities on a basketball court. We might
we went to the facility. Brad's going like 5 miles a day.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't see Colby Wallerman going 5 miles a day.
Wait, so you're saying like Brad is like Joseph Jamal?
I think Brad has a motor and he's more like a guard in a big body. Like, I think
Draymond?
He might be Draymond. We'll see. I need to see Brad hoop. Let's get a key to the gym and make it happen. Richard Blake says, you guys have probably covered this before. I'm curious how long you've known each other and how you guys met. Keep up the good work. You want to take that one, Cart?
Yeah, so the initial meeting happened because I went to college and I was teammates and roommates with Zach Hurth. Shout out to my boy, 45% career shooter from 3, has a ratchet. He went to high school with Greg. He was my roommate. A lot of the times, like during breaks and something like that, during school, I would like to go to Lansing because I live near the Metro Detroit area. It's a lot farther than Lansing, and the way my parents were in the household, it was like a war zone. It was like military style home. Can't leave the house when the street lights come on type stuff. So I wanted some freedom. I had that freedom in Lansing.
Did you? I'm sorry to interrupt. Did you just Johnny Manziel yourself? Like, I don't know. You haven't seen the doc, I don't think.
No, I haven't seen the doc.
I won't spoil too much, but Manziel invented a fake narrative that his family came from oil money just so he could like make illegal money. Like that, all of that shit's not true. Did you just invent a fake narrative about your family that you had a military style upbringing that is totally not true?
No, when I say military style, I mean there were strict rules in my household. Like there was no, like I didn't like get to go out and do things. Like it was very strict in my household growing up. Just for me,
seriously?
Yeah, swear to God.
I can't believe that based on the you that I was introduced to 3 months removed from high school.
Exactly, my friend. So I went
Yeah,
land.
there were a lot of Manziel comparisons. Let's just say that.
All right, relax. So I meet Greg. Obviously, typical guy shit. Like you start talking about sports, start talking about hoop. You find a way to be friends. It went beyond that. We started talking a little bit of Drake, talking hoop. All of a sudden, we stayed in contact for some reason. Not really, can't really go back to the origin. But hey, when bros hit it off, they hit it off, and we've been boys ever since. To be honest.
Yeah, I remember the night that we were introduced to each other was like a Christmas break party, I think, or something.
Yeah.
You get all dressed up and you're gonna go drinking for a night, whatever. My now wife was there, your now wife was there. Which is also convenient. That's a big part of our friendship is that our wives get along pretty well.
Yes, that's huge.
So I remember the things I remember the night we met were like we were buoying up playing like what college did this player go to?
Oh,
That
yeah.
became a consistent theme. And
Classic.
I was like, wait a second, he's as good as me at that. That's normally I kill everybody in this game. Two, I remember I was freestyling. Like it was during my rap phase, so that people were having me freestyle. And I remember after I freestyled, you were like really showing me a lot of love after that. And I felt cool that you were appreciative of my rap skills. So then from there, I remember leaving the night we hung out, like the next morning, hungover. I remember telling my wife, well, I don't care what happens in my life. Carter's going to be in my wedding, which at the time was a joke, but then it turned out it was true. And now here we are running a successful business together.
I mean, what a special story. There's nothing like friendships that start when you're naming where Lamar Odom went to college.
If you would have told us that night when we were playing that game that one day we would be like interviewing Chris Holtman together, we would be like, what is going
There's
on?
no way.
Ulamog says you guys should set up an exclusive Discord for YouTube members. I think the community would be into an open chat room to talk shop and interact with the sleepers. To incentivize commenters joining, you could run an exclusive fantasy football league for those that contribute. Bottom line, I think people will pay for access to sleepers and a discussion forum. I love this idea on paper, Ulamog. I'll be honest, I'll just like kind of date myself here. I'm pretty good with all like random apps and technology shit. Like I got to run that for all my jobs with Field of 68 and Dimers and everything. I don't understand Discord. I just straight up don't get it. I've had to do a little bit of it for Dimers. I don't understand why people like it. So if that's something people would want from us, I'm happy to figure it out and do it. But it's very foreign to me as like a platform.
Yeah, I'm actually open to doing it as well. But also, at least in my experience with Discords and people who like have Discords, there's usually like a person who runs a like there'd be a person who ran the sleepers Discord. So if there's anybody who's really good with that and could actually make it a good product, I'd definitely be open to it. It could get kind of dangerous. I mean, if I'm on a Discord and someone throws in the chat, like I'm throwing a donation for $5 if Carter shows his feet, like I'm showing my feet, but like I'd be down to do that.
I should have sent you $55 so I can get a feet pic from Carter Elliott.
You don't want to pick up my feet right now. I need a pedicure bad.
But yeah, we're on to something here. We just got to flesh out exactly what it is. I think it's clear people are interested in something additional for us that would allow them to support the show. And we should probably figure it out soon, like before college football soon, because we do want to bring back the college football, like weekly write-ups we would do where anyone who like subscribed to the Free Sleepers newsletter in the past knows what that looks like. It's just basically us being funny, but in written form with some gambling mixed in. But yeah, I would love to figure something out. If that is Discord, let us know. If people are interested in that, keep commenting and telling us that, and we can make it happen. Steve Dunn says, I totally understand how good Purdue should be this year, but am I crazy for thinking everyone will be waiting to give Edie and company their best shot and will end up with 8 to 10 losses by March? That program seems to run best when they're not getting this much love. I think you're right about the program maybe being a little better when they're under the radar. Last year, like they weren't a preseason top 25 team. Everybody laughed at their freshman backcourt, and then they were number one in the country a month later. Year before, when they had Ivy and Travion, it was kind of rocky, even though they were a really good team. Car, this feels right up your alley with your prediction that Purdue might not care about the regular season as much this year.
Yeah, I do. And I think a lot of it carries the narrative, like I mentioned before, is that it's always Purdue's so good, but they're not doing it in March. Purdue's so good, but Painter hasn't got them to this point. There's always that but about like where they're going. And I feel like that's going to be the main focus. And I don't really know if that happens in college athletics as much. I kind of want to make that a theory, but I guess that's more so a professional thing. Like teams don't necessarily put as much into the regular season because they want to do things in the playoffs. Don't know if that happens as much in college. Maybe with like lower conference teams, like just kind of sleepwalking through, I don't know, like the American or something. But I can see a world where they don't take it or maybe not take it as seriously, but don't take as much to heart if the Big Ten regular season doesn't go as well. I think they're really focused on how far they can go in March.
Can I go off on a 45-second painter tangent here quickly?
I think when we started this pod, I think we made that like rule or commandment 7 that if you want to go off on a tangent for 45 seconds, you do not have to ask me.
It's basically just a heat check, right? Give me the ball, get out of the way on painter
Yeah,
for a
I'm fine with
second.
that, please.
So, okay, we've talked about Purdue a lot. It's clear I'm driving the bandwagon for Purdue this year, and that's the opposite of where I was at the end of last year with them. I get it. That's fine. I just am really confused why nationally nobody's like taking them seriously as a title threat, and mostly why like Twitter communities and just fans of other Big Ten teams are like kind of laughing off Purdue, like, whatever, they have no chance. That's bullshit. The biggest criticism of all of this has been it's Painter. He can't do it in March. I'm totally fine with that. Like, he needs to prove it. I get that. I still am confident he will, because if you remove the whole concept of March, anyone in the profession would tell you Painter's one of the best coaches there is. Like, the offensive shit he runs, his schemes, his staff, anything he does, like, he is operating at a top 10 coach in the country level. He just hasn't had the run in March, except for the fact he almost did have the run in March. And I get that almost doesn't matter, but if Virginia doesn't hit a miracle shot, Purdue's already made a Final Four, and we can't do any of this with Painter, okay? So all that said, I had a tweet like a week ago where it was a bunch of Michigan State fans being like, but LOL, it's Painter. Painter has the same number of NCAA tournament wins as Tom Izzo going back like 8 years. And I get that's a very specific set of criteria. If I went back 9 years, then it has another Izzo run. Okay. I get that. The point of doing that is to show how far you have to go back just to see an advantage for a coach that everyone views as magical in March versus a coach that everyone says they won't touch. He's been operating at the same level, even given all of these losses where we think Purdue's disappointed. Purdue has operated as good as the best coach in the Big Ten has in March. So everybody breathe. Stop slandering Matt Painter. I don't buy it. I hope this year is the year because he's a really good coach. I see that you have written a 0 on a notepad card.
Number of Final Fours he's been to. There's the last 5 seconds of your 45-second tangent.
Thank you very much. And that's just such a lazy analysis from your fan base, which you are a leader of. So congrats. I appreciate it. Let's move on.
I'm not a leader of that fan base.
You absolutely, well, yeah, I guess you didn't get the Thy Shadows invite, so maybe I shouldn't use that word. Okay. Thank you for the comment, Steve. Jared Golf says, can we get a Drunk Scouts vid this season? That would be fire. Do you miss Drunk Scouts, Cart?
It was fun during the time, but I don't think people realize, low key, I was hurting the day after Drunk Scouts. If we do it, we might have to change the rules.
So for those that don't know, Drunk Scouts was a series that we did 2 summers ago. I think we did one last summer too. And it was really fun. I thought it was one of our better things. Like at the time, it was doing more views than a lot of our videos. And the premise was essentially drunk history meets NBA draft scouting. And we would do it in the summer leading up to the NBA draft. We would watch a full game of one player, and we had a very specific set of criteria where when they scored, we had to take a sip. If they hit a 3, we had to take a shot, all this stuff. We got super drunk doing this. And then by the end of the video, we would like give it 30 minutes. And then once we're drunk, answer a set of like prompts that were pretty funny and ended in some hilarious moments and comparisons. We did a Cade Cunningham one. We did Max Christie. You can go back on the channel and watch all of them if you want to. They're hilarious. It was really hard, especially on me, because I have to edit that, and I wouldn't edit it the night we recorded because I'd be too drunk. So I'd have to, the next day when super hungover, go all the way back through. And there was like, when we recorded these, we would have like 7 hours of footage. So I would have to go back and cut 99% of it and watch it all and relive the drunk idiot moments. And like, half of the time, like we'd be like totally off script from what we're trying to talk about, just like telling each other how much we love each other. So it was really embarrassing. Nobody ever saw that, but the end product was great. All that said, now that I'm a father, pretty hard to logistically do. Maybe something I would be talked into doing for like a paid community though, Cart. Like if we did do like a Patreon or something and that's content people were interested in, like, okay, once a month you get that, I could be talked into it.
Yeah, go back and watch the Drunk Scouts on the channel and let us know if that's something that would be like some exclusive content. Because I will say the last 30 minutes of Drunk Scouts was always definitely special. Comparing what was it? What animal Cade Cunningham could Cade Cunningham beat a group of like 10 giraffes? There was some stupid questions in there. I don't even
know. The prompts were like, what animal is this player? Who would win in a fight? Like, or would you want this guy on your side during a fight? Yes or no? It was pretty funny. We did Jabari Smith too. Don't watch that one because I think we said Jabari Smith was going to be KD or Jason Tatum, and there's still some time there. Brandon Skalski says, first off, big shout out to Cart's use of behoove. Also, the Purdue Hive is alive and well. Choo choo MFers. But I think more so than the scrimmage, the games in Europe will give us a better feel for how this team might perform, except for the fact that it's all without Edey. Greg, don't let Cart's disdain keep you from pushing the Purdue hype into the stratosphere. Brandon, I will not, evidenced by the rant I just went on while Cart totally tried to shrug it off. Thank you for the comment, Brandon. It's good to see you in here. Aiden Tree says, with On3's ranking updates, neither of Michigan's guys made the top 150. Are they going to land an impressive prospect in 24? And what does it mean for the program if they don't? Should I take this one since it's my team?
Yeah, I should. But just to give my thoughts, they're not really in the lead for anybody in 24 currently, are they? Like,
not that I know of. I mean, Juwan's whole thing, which is a little frustrating to watch play out. I don't think he ever really does lead in these high profile recruitments, but he gets in all of them. And you don't get points, right? It doesn't matter if you get listed in the final four for Flory Badunga, like that means nothing when he commits to Duke in 3 days. But he's trying, and I don't give him credit for trying because it's dropped off from he was landing 2 of them per year his first 2 seasons to now he has full recruiting classes that are completely empty because he can't land them. So he's pivoted a little bit, right? Like this last class, he didn't land any elites, so they have no class. And then they had to add George Washington late. At least next year, it's like, okay, we have Christian Anderson and Brooks. Like they're in the class, even if you don't like them, like they're not going anywhere right now. But I think it's scary because I think Juwan's not recruiting like a guy who's going to be here long. I'll say that. And he's swinging for the fences and missing, and I don't know where that leaves Michigan. Leaves him in a tough spot.
Yeah, it's also a little bit concerning as far as like the positions, I guess the positions he's recruiting. To me, like Christian Anderson is going to be a point guard who needs the ball in his hand, correct? Or are you going like really super small backcourt? I don't think you can go like that's way too small. You can't go Doug and Christian Anderson in the backcourt.
No, but it's kind of like okay, you're bringing in Fears as like Akins as a junior, right? Or Fears as Hogarth's there. Like it's one of those like he's the next guy. You would hope Christian Anderson plays after Doug leaves, but
yeah. But I mean, I hate to do this. I really do, only because it's not as easy as it sounds on paper. But like, if you're Juwan, if you're a Michigan coach, are you not going across the country to the best 2 guards and you're like, I have 30 minutes for you at the 2 if you want it next season.
And I think he's trying.
Michigan, like that, he just can't. Is he trying?
I do think he's in all these recruitments for the most part. Like you look at the guys he's offered, the guys he's watching.
I gotta educate myself on the actual offer list for him. But that would literally be my pitch. I got 30 for you next season.
Yeah, I think he's heavily involved in watching. I won't name names, but like he's watching and offering a lot of the elite recruits in every class that he's recruiting. They're just not seriously considering Michigan. That's the problem. And I think some of the shine has worn off of wanting to play for Juwan Howard. Everything all right?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm good. My wife texted me and said, any chance I have bad news, I need my computer. Keep going. I got to put this computer charger outside the door of the room.
All right, let's move on to some comments here. From Gavin Booher. says Greg with an absolutely out of pocket pause moment in the Field of 68 Indiana video around 12:20-ish. You know, I clipped that shit. I'll be honest, Gavin, I didn't go back and watch it because I was scared after I saw your comment. I remember recording one of those. It was probably that one, and like being like, damn, I can't believe I just said that. And Goodman didn't call me out on it because it's Goodman. But yeah, thanks for pointing it out. Not going to go back and watch it.
Don't worry, Greg. I got the clip. Gavin sent it to me.
Oh, great. Lovely. Clayton is in the comments with a couple comments here. He said, loved the envy yesterday of comments regarding only talking about 3 teams, but you're spot on. Illini provides content, hashtag Illini drama. And you two are Michigan State fans. Carter's grittying in the background. Clayton goes on to say, love my son, put you on Blackhawk Down. Worth a watch. I think you'll enjoy. I need your Venmo so I can get an intro spot. Does Sleepers Media still have a Venmo? I think it does.
Yeah,
right?
we do.
So Venmo at Sleepers Media?
Yeah, let me double check that, but yes.
There you go, Clayton.
Yeah,
maybe that's what we should do. Are we charging $10 for an intro ad read? Just line them up.
We can literally treat like Cameo.
Yeah,
the episodes can be like Cameo. All you got to do is just Venmo at Sleepers Media, and we will make it happen. Yeah, we do got it.
All right. So Venmo $10, and we will open an episode one by one. At some point, we'll get to it, and there you go. That's the price point. I like that. That's fun. Your Master Knows All says you should make the show live so people can live comment, or make Riley Fridays live commenting. What do you think about something live?
Yeah, is someone watching something live at 9 a.m. on a Friday?
Yeah, that's the thing. Is I feel like we need the right time of day, and it would probably have to be afternoon or night, which is tough on parent.
Yeah. I will say this, to actually go live on YouTube, you gotta have like a certain amount of like watch time and subscribers and things like that. We do meet that threshold. So if we do want to go YouTube live, I've seen the ability to do that when I check our YouTube stats and things like that.
I feel like that comes back to the people want the sense of community. Maybe like I think people are starting to remember the names of some commenters that are frequent here, which is fun, and they want to interact with each other. So, yeah, we could make that happen. I've wanted to do something Sleepers Live for like a game in the past. Like, can we live comment a game? We've thought about like trying to work with playback or something on that. So if people want that, let us know. We hear you. Your Master Knows All. Fam says, as a Spartan fan who prefers to see things at a practical level with high standards for the program, I think Cart's been spot on with all his takes on the squad. Cormac was mid at best and had a bad attitude, ran from the grind. Brooks leaving is like getting mad Marvin Clark left. I was mad Marvin Clark left, by the way. People forget Tum Tum was recruited over Jamal Murray for Izzo, living off the Final Four run, his always positive energy. What he deserves shine on is the players he's leaned into. Was early on Akins last summer, defended Tyson in his low moments, never wavered on Henny. That's just a guy who knows ball and holds the program to a high standard, as he should.
I mean, pretty spot on, I would say. I would even say I would throw in Joey Jamal to that as well. So I feel like he really stuck by him when he was struggling, and he might have been the only person that stuck by him besides me, to be honest. And you. I'll give you credit for that. You've always been a Joseph Jamal truther. But, I mean, yeah, it's kind of spitting. Did we really recruit Tum Tum? Jamal Murray wasn't coming to state. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, I believe that too. But
yeah,
I think at the time he was acting like he might. The other one was Tyler Ulis. I remember Ulis was like a big Michigan State quote unquote miss at the time. Yeah, I mean, man, must be fun to be a fan of a Tom Izzo led program. I mean that genuinely. There's no shade from me on that. I'm jealous. Kevin Deaton says, got to go at Greg a little bit for walking back the Kentucky is better than Kansas thing. Unfortunately, I think you're probably right, though. But I will say this. I feel like the whole old teams win in this era of college basketball is a little overblown. I know it's technically true, but everybody's old. So old teams win and old teams also fail. Nobody's been trying it with a bunch of young players. Kentucky hasn't even had a bunch of freshmen like this for several years now. Do you think the old thing is overblown, Cart?
The reason I don't think it's overblown is because it's not just old. I guess with Kansas, it ain't just old. It's old, talented, and well coached. That's the trifecta. They got all three of those. And I think that as far as across the teams of the country, they are the team that has, I guess, the highest caliber in all three of those categories to me. It's because, I mean, they're definitely in today's college basketball world, that is true. It's a lot of old guys, a lot of old players. That's the way it's going to be probably for a couple more years with how COVID years work out and things like that before it kind of steadies out and gets back to normal, I guess. But it's the combination for me which makes Kansas so dangerous.
Yeah, I just feel like we saw the old thing with our own eyes. And you're right, a lot of teams are old, so that means a lot of teams lost. But like specific examples for me, like San Diego State had no business beating Alabama in the tournament last year, but Alabama's best players were all dudes who had rarely ever been in the NCAA tournament or had never been and were 18 years old. And San Diego State literally started 4 24-year-old guys. Like it's just different. I think the same thing could be said about some of Miami's wins on their way. Like they had a bunch of dudes who had played a lot of college basketball on that team, and they were playing teams that had a few freshmen mixed in. I still love Kentucky for the record, but I just think I was way out of pocket for saying Kentucky's better than Kansas. I was really skeptical of Kansas's shooting. And quite frankly, DeJuan Harris's first two scrimmage box scores terrified me because my stance all summer was DeJuan Harris is going to be the guy. He's going to take the jump. And then his first two games in the summer, he was 0 for 3 and 0 for 4 from the floor. So I'm like, okay, he hasn't taken a jump. He's the same guy. Fast forward, he goes for 25 on 14 shots. Like, okay, now I'm starting to see things I wanted to see from Kansas. So thanks for the comment, though, Kevin. Grant Odell says, can we get Coleman back on the pod? Also, Illinois hates Iowa because they shit talk our corn. We would love to get Coleman back on the pod. I don't know how Coleman feels about us these days.
I think in my eyes, I wake up every day saying that Coleman likes us.
Yeah, I'm going to live in that reality too. We did also like dap up with him in the Illinois locker room when we were there, and he seemed to recognize us and not have any animosity towards us. But
and he said I look tall.
He did say that too. I would love that. Coleman would absolutely love to get you, or at least like maybe we'll go to media day or something and like actually talk to Coleman and get some content with him. Yeah. And Corn, you were shit talking Iowa's Corn, as was I also.
It was nowhere to be found.
Actually, weren't we shit talking Nebraska's Corn? Weren't we in Iowa saying like Nebraska's Corn was overrated?
But the thing is, it was like we traveled between the two states. So it's really like the corn's not even any of theirs. Like there's no corn in Iowa City. There's no corn in Lincoln. There's corn along the highway that goes between the two. If that's what they're claiming as the corn's like center of the earth, I'm just not buying it. I shouldn't have to travel that far to see corn. The first corn I saw in Nebraska was on the damn Graduate Hotel wallpaper.
It was also December 14th. We didn't realize there is no corn in winter, and everybody was like, what do you want from us?
Okay, that is a fact. Okay. Yeah, right.
It's a fact. Clayton's back. He says he saw Brock had 6 assists, 0 turnovers, 10 points. I think Illini would take that line at this point. I think Iowa got a sleeper with him. Yeah, absolutely. Illinois would take anybody shaped like a point guard that can pass the ball. Like they need that desperately. Miles8711 says, I'd pay for Cart's men's league tape. Is that part of the offer? Like if we were going to paywall some stuff, could we get full Carter men's league games available?
That'd be fine, but I'm institutionalizing anybody who pays money to see that. And I'm judging you.
But logistically, we could do it, right?
Yeah, we could actually.
Okay. We're going to need to think about that.
And I'm not going to forget this. At one point when Greg has some actual free time because he's the hardest working man in sports content business, I'm going to send him some clips, and he said he would put together a little highlight tape for me. And
I'm ready for that now. Like you don't need to wait on that. Ready? Send me that right after the show.
Can you promise me you'll put some good tunes on there?
Yeah, 100%. Okay.
Like if I open up the highlight tape and I hear "Ocean Eyes" by Billie Eilish, even though it's a great song, okay, gotcha.
I feel like you're coming at me for like generic white people music right now, but we've had enough like road trips that you should respect my music taste. I know when to turn the white music on versus when to just like good music.
That's true. You do have the keen ability to like play some hits, but then out of nowhere be like, hey, don't get too comfortable. Here's Charlie on a Friday, and it's Heat, and there's Rockies and Tito's, and you're like, oh, I like this.
Right. Yeah. Keep people on edge. That's the goal. Okay. I would love to have access to your men's league tape, by the way. So maybe we should spin that up. Wyatt Robinson says, with a healthy Goody, Damask, Guerrier, and DGL, who had good numbers coming in, the Illini should improve shooting. I still don't get that, you guys. I'm trying. I still don't get it. I'm looking forward to DGL, TSJ, Goody, Damask, and Hawk can do. I'm really hopeful DGL goes off. How deep do you see Daddy Brad's rotation being in close games? Um, to me, it feels like it's still going to be like the different guys every night thing with this team. And I'm excited to watch them. They're going to make the whole game available today. I think we're both going to try and lock in and see it. But I don't get the sense this is like a clear 5 starters thing. It's going to be like every night it's a different guy.
Can I say one positive thing that I feel like Illinois fans should be happy about at
Sure.
this point of the offseason? In no press conferences or quotes or anything else, we have yet to hear the word positionless basketball. That's a win.
That is a big win.
That's a win.
It's a huge win. User a bunch of letters says, "What's the intro song?" Also, while we're here, Trent Frazier is the GOAT. I don't know the name or the name of the person who made the song. It's just an instrumentalist I found on YouTube, and I bought it for like $40 to use commercially. I have like 6 of them, by the way, and they're all heat for the record. So got them in the back pocket when needed. And Trent Frazier is the GOAT. I'll let that comment pass for today. That's okay. We'll let that slide.
That's crazy you're letting it pass just because you heard of his bar escapades.
That boy from Illinois says, no real comment. Just wanted to say that I was here before the sleepers made it big. Shout out that boy from Illinois. We have a lot of work to do. Stay low and build.
3 is better than 2.
Kevin Lucas, good to see you, Kev. Says next episode, I just want to tell y'all, I just want y'all to tell the world that Indiana is below mediocre. Okay guards and no real go-to scorer. Shaking my head. They fans are misguided. Kev, guess what, my friend? We got a topic just for you today. Coming up next, CFB Addict says, I love the condiments diss by G Wizzy. They're overrated. Yes, you're right. Condiments are best used as compliments. Like if you're telling me about food and the first thing you tell me is the sauce was fire, that says something about the food. That's my stance.
I don't want to comment on the situation.
Yeah, because you're an over condiment user. You overindulge in the condiments.
I don't like your tone.
I'm just saying. It's people, different strokes for different folks. I'm just saying.
Call the FBI. Put mustard on my hot dog.
But like if you eat the hot dog and someone's like, how was that hot dog? You're like, oh, that mustard slapped. Like, what does that say about the hot dog, my friend? It says a lot, okay? Seymour Butts 420 says, hit up Raid Shadow Legends. They sponsored the entire internet. I don't know what that is.
Never seen that in my life.
Might have to give that a Google, Seymour. That was the final comment of the day. Thank you to the comment section. A lot of good stuff. As always, keep them coming. Let's move on today, Cart, to Kev's topic, the Indiana Hoosiers. I'll set the table with this. I think we just dropped our Indiana grades video on the Field of 68. I recorded that one with the lovely Jeff Goodman, who is an honorary Hoosier, by the way. His daughter goes to Indiana. And we went in depth on this roster, what they did and didn't do this offseason. And I was struck the more I went through it, Cart. Their front court's so talented. I have no idea how it fits together. I'm still pretty worried about that. But they didn't do anything in the backcourt. Like they didn't address the guard position whatsoever. Xavier Johnson's back, but he was not great last year before he was shut down. And then he was shut down. And I think this team's planning on playing Trey Galloway like 32 minutes at the 2. I think that's it. And then like now he's not playing the 3 and now you're playing 3 bigs. It's a weird roster construction. They got a couple freshmen like Gabe Cups has a lot of buzz right now. He might work his way in. I like what I've seen from him. But in general, I feel like people have placed this Indiana team in the middle of the pack in the Big Ten, somewhere in that like promising Illinois range where you could talk your way all the way up to like 3rd or 4th on them. But also, you wouldn't be surprised if this team fell all the way to like 7th or 8th and were a bubble-ish team. What are your expectations for Indiana this season?
Yeah, I just think that I saw your off-season grade video, and I actually was on the same page with you on as far as what the grade should be for this team. I did not think it was too harsh, as I've thought in some other, previous videos.
I gave them a C for anybody that hasn't seen it. They got a C.
Sorry, yeah, gave us, and I truly think it because. Yes, you add a guy who you see on draft boards that is going to be, a top 10 pick according to some services. And, you see the videos being released by Gavoni and you see all this, talent and potential that Kiel Ware has. But you really can't put behind the fact that this was a guy who I don't know how to put it without sounding absolutely awful, but it might be the worst motor that I've watched on a basketball player in a long, long time. It really looked like he was mentally checked out. And, you didn't get to see all the physical tools that he had because of how checked out he was and how bad his motor was. And this team just doesn't fit to me. That's really what it comes down to. It doesn't fit. And even if there are strings to pull to kind of make some things work, because there's been teams that, I can't think of off the top of my head that have come into a season. I'm like, that team doesn't fit. But coaching and players emerge and you're able to pull some strings and things come together. I don't have faith in Mike Woodson that he's the coach that's going to pull strings to make things work. I would feel a lot differently about this Indiana team if they were able to get, and I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher his last name. Is it Dalton Connect?
Oh, yeah, Dalton. Wow, you crushed that.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Wow, that's special. Okay. Wow, I never do that.
Listen, your barber really did some shit, man. What is this?
I don't know. But if you throw him at the 2 instead of Galloway and you had that shooting that is much needed with this team, I feel a lot better about this team. Honestly, I love the addition of Ware, and I sound stupid because you have to add him. You really do. If some guy with that much talent wants to come to your school, you add him. But I also can't help but think, how might this team look if you get a Dalton Connect and then maybe you have Mbako at the 4 and Renault at the 5? I just don't know how this is necessarily going to work. I like Mackenzie Mbako, but him at the 3, it just scares me for some reason. So I just way too many question marks, and I'm not a Woodson believer. So that's kind of where I come from with my Indiana takes.
Yeah, I think I'm a little less negative on Woodson specifically than you are. I definitely don't view him as he's going to get a team to overachieve like crazy. But I think you in general are more just I'm out. I don't trust him across the board. And I don't feel that way. I'm just we'll see. He's fine. We know he can coach. He was in the NBA. We know he can recruit right now. But I have questions about his roster construction more than anything. I just think there's so much to question with this team, if that makes sense. And the answers to these questions might be positive. That's where I want to start. It's not like you're looking at this roster and being oh, there's a huge hole the way you are with Illinois, who is still going to be a very good team. But you're looking at Illinois they do not have a point guard. There isn't a hole for Indiana. There isn't something where you're there is no
their depth is
okay, but I feel you can criticize depth for a lot of teams, right? Maybe Indiana's is harsher, but they're at least on paper is an answer at every position that they would need an answer at.
You wouldn't say there's a question mark at the 2?
I think their answer is Trey Galloway. Do I like that answer? No, but I can see an answer is the point, right?
Okay.
But I want to go through some of the other questions because to me, this team's season hinges on Xavier Johnson. To not add a high-profile transfer, and we know Indiana was involved recruiting some high-profile transfers in the backcourt, to not land one means that this entire season now hinges on Xavier Johnson.
And the health of his foot, too.
And the health of his foot. And last year, I was very pro Xavier Johnson. I made a bet with Tristan Freeman, busting brackets. I made a bet that he would finish first team all-conference because I was so impressed with how he finished his final month and a half of the season prior when Indiana stormed back to make the NCAA tournament. His numbers were incredible. I saw it with my own eyes. He's stunning in Indianapolis. I'm sitting courtside and he's sending my Michigan team packing in the first round of the Big Ten tournament. I bought that player could be that player every single game. He wasn't that player at the beginning of the season. Now, part of that is because TJD and Hood Schifino were both pretty damn good and required having the ball, but Johnson wasn't the guy I expected him to be. So now you're expecting a guy to come off an injury, off extended time down, and play at a level consistently he hasn't played for his entire career, and there's no backup plan. There is no, what is it? Gabe Cupps is the backup plan, I guess, but you don't want that. You want Cupps to be a complementary piece. You don't want him to be okay, he might have to be our point guard if things go poorly with Xavier Johnson. Now, moving beyond that, because that's my biggest concern, I do think this team has an argument, Cart, for having the most talented front court in the country. I don't think that's exaggeration. I think that there's a world where Renault, where Kel'el Ware, and Ware Mbako are all individually first-round picks next year. It's possible that happens.
Renault too.
I think it's possible. Now, it's not likely because their individual success almost negatively affects the other two. I don't think there's a world where all three of these guys play to their 100% ceiling at the same time, because in their best version of themselves, they would play the same positions. So the other thing that's the elephant in the room here, which you kind of alluded to, is like there are very serious, I don't know the right, I want to be careful. There are serious personality concerns with Kel'el Ware. And that plagued his entire time at Oregon, which was a very bad Oregon team. He was the most talented player on that team, and he was in and out of the rotation. So I'm optimistic in general on Ware's game. I loved him as a recruit. I remember talking to you about him when he was in high school. Like, this dude's a superstar.
Yeah.
I think Ware is the most talented player in the Big Ten. As far as NBA talent, I think he is the most talented player in the Big Ten, and I think he is the type of guy this conference hasn't seen in years. But I also think he's a head case, and I'm terrified about the fact that he's now on a team with Renault, who's not a head case, and with Mbako, who views himself as a one and done. There's a lot of guys in that front court that are all viewing themselves as the centerpiece of that front court, and only one of those three can be the centerpiece of that front court. So have you seen the stuff like Renault put like a Camp Sanderson style before and after out yesterday, which I thought was photoshopped, for the record.
So did I.
It wasn't photoshopped, I don't think.
Are you sure?
Do I need to go back and check? It wasn't photoshopped?
I think it is.
All the comments were like, this is a huge credit to our strength staff.
I was under the impression that it was. If it isn't, that's insane.
I mean, Sam Vecini quote tweeted and said, I think Renault's in for a huge year at Indiana. He's a dude in the front court. He's the dude in the front court. It's not Photoshop, Car. That's a real picture of Malik Renault.
That's crazy.
So I'm like, and then there's video of Kel'el Ware at I don't know what it was. Wasn't it like a pro day or something?
I think it's like the Nike Elite.
Yeah, the Nike Academy or whatever.
Yeah, Nike Academy.
Kel'el Ware's popping off the charts visually in the drills they're running there. So like, who's the guy? I guess is my question, because I only think one of them can be the guy this year. Who's the guy in the Indiana front court?
Well, this is the thing with me too. One, looking back on that Renault picture, that's insane. Like that he had that transformation, and vertical leap went up 4.5 inches. Like that's crazy too at his size. But the thing is with that Renault clip, I'm not the Renault clip, with the Ware clip, that is Kel'el Ware. Like he's gonna look great in that setting, and everything's doing good. He's getting the Gavoni clip, and everything's going well. The pushback that I have with a lot of Indiana fans, at least like in my mentions, is that TJD was a guy who had like some motor issues and like playing hard issues, I guess, early in his career. I personally didn't see that. I guess I didn't watch him closely enough, but I'm taking their word for it that he's a guy who had those issues. But it's not just a motor issue with Kel'el Ware. It's like an actual, like, he might bring down the vibes of the team with like it's a motor and also possibly an attitude problem. And that's like a really scary combination, because that type of mentality can affect the rest of the players on the team and himself. So like I could see a world where it goes really, really bad for this Indiana team. Is Mike Woodson the guy to like push him and, get him on the right track? Maybe he is. And if that's the case, then I'm going to have to change my stance on Mike Woodson. I'll be that guy to walk back and eat crow on that. If he does do that this season, like I'm on record saying, I will come on here and I will apologize and say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. But I got to see it first.
And I think there's an argument that that Woodson is the perfect coach to get that out of Ware, given how he developed Trace Jackson.
Because they can both nap.
Maybe that. But no, TJD really, like, I think we need to give TJD more credit for the jump he took last year. Like people kind of just accepted it and sort of shrugged it off, talked about it in the moment. But like TJD went from a guy that honestly was the recipient of a lot of jokes about like, he's just going to put up empty numbers, to no, he's the second best player in the country. And oh, by the way, he went 2-0 against the best player in the country. Like that's wildly impressive.
And took his lunch.
That's wildly impressive to me. And I think Woodson does deserve a lot of credit for unlocking whatever was inside of TJD for that year. So like, okay, Ware is super talented. If Ware does play to his maximum potential, he's going to be a monster. It's a good test for Mike Woodson. It's a tough test, but it's a good it's like an AP exam of Kel'el Ware here. Like hopefully Mike Woodson studied, because this is going to be a tough one.
And last thing I'll say, it's going to be a scary sight for the Big Ten if he does play to like that top 10 potential level. Yeah, because there ain't nobody in the league that can check that.
Yeah, he's just wired and built so completely differently than players this league has seen. I'm pretty excited to watch it. All right, so let's say gun to your head, Cart. Where does this team finish this season? Because again, you could tell me they finished third. You could tell me they finish 10th or 11th in this I said, quote, disaster potential on the Field of 68 grade video. Where do they finish at the end of the season?
Oof. You know what? I'm going to flip my narrative just a little bit. I'm going to say that Woodson gets a little bit out of where. I'm not saying he reaches his full potential. I'm going to say he gets a little bit out of it. And still, I'd still say with how it fits, I'll say 7th.
Okay.
Between 7 and 8 for me.
I think that's about the median outcome here. Like, I think if you simulated this 1,000 times, I think Indiana finishes 7th the most, more than any other position. Oh man, the more I just keep talking about this, you basically need Xavier Johnson to be healthy and good for a whole season. You need Gabe Cupps to give you something like 20 minutes a game minimum at Big Ten level and shoot the ball well. You need the front court guys to all get along and at least one of them to be an NBA level talent. If those three things happen, then I think Indiana's a lock NCAA tournament team. The problem for me, Cart, is I would bet on the over-under being a half of those three things happen. I don't think Xavier Johnson will stay healthy or play well, even if he is healthy. I don't think this front court's going to get along, and I think it's 50-50 if Gabe Cupps is a guy or not. So,
Gabe Cupps is the next Jordan Hulls.
Which I would love. That's still that Indiana team with Oladipo, Hulls, Wofford, Zeller is still my second favorite Big Ten team of all time, behind the Illinois group.
Greatest miss alley-oop of all time by Oladipo.
Great. I mean, I wanted that to go in, and I'm a Michigan fan. But yeah, it's going to be harsh. I'm sorry to Indiana fans that made it all the way to this video. You can chirp me. It's fine. I think Indiana finishes 10th in the Big Ten and misses the tournament. I think they missed the tournament.
What? Gregory, you didn't have to do both.
I think they missed the tournament.
You didn't have to say both.
It's scary. There's a lot of guys that I don't think will like each other in that locker room. It's scary.
Okay, stop saying it and running away. Get back here.
Okay, I'm sorry. I like Candy Stripes. I love Candy Stripes. Assembly Hall is incredible. I miss Trace Jackson Davis and Jalen Hood-Schifino. That's my stance. Sorry. And we also had to honor Kev, who told us to tell the world that Indiana's below mediocre. Well, there you go, Kev.
Well, there you go, Kev.
All right, let's move on. You asked for this topic today. Team USA. Highly divisive thoughts on Team USA. An odd roster. It's the FIBA World Cup. So none of the big boys, none of the Olympians that would show up to the Olympics are here. Instead, we have a team whose best player is either Anthony Edwards or Tyrese Halliburton or Jalen Brunson, depending on who you ask.
Brandon Ingram?
I wouldn't throw Ingram in there. Maybe you can. But do you like this team? Are the concerns valid? Because they struggled in the scrimmage the other night, and then they blew them out in the fourth quarter. And there's the whole they lost to the select team thing. Shout out Cade Cunningham, by the way. What do you make of this?
I just think there's way too much. Either I don't know what the phrase is to use, like things are too far apart, feast or famine. Like, no, this team isn't going to cakewalk to a gold medal. Like, that's not going to happen. They might not even cakewalk to the gold medal game. But the overreactions that are happening with this team right now are wild to me. Like, people are acting like it's going to be worse than in 2019. Like, that's not going to happen with this team. It was the first, scrimmage, I guess, against a real team, I would say, that first time playing together in that setting. I think there's strings to be pulled with this team. Like, I think that Kerr can do some things with this team to make it run more efficiently. But at the end of the day, this team does have some talent. They're young guys that I guess will be like prime for breakouts in the next coming years as far as being all-stars and things like that. But I just think that there's just way too many overreactions going with, this Team USA team. And the second takeaway I would have from it is that I can't believe Trae Young's not on this team. That's the last thing I'll say about it.
Yeah. Doesn't that just come back to like people seem to not like Trae Young?
Yeah, that. And I actually saw an interesting thing on Gilbert Arenas' podcast. And he was talking about how it was a shoe company politics thing. because
Oh,
Trey
wow.
Young is Adidas, Nike is obviously the USA sponsor. They got some Jordan players on the team. They got Nike athletes, no Adidas athletes on the
Wow.
team. Now, I don't know if that's an actual theory to be looked into, but it is something that I could definitely, maybe see. But I just hate hearing the narrative like, oh, Trey Young's too little, oh, he's too small. Like Trey Young is one of the best point guards in the NBA. If you aren't taking the top tier level point guards, he should be one of the point guards in consideration.
Yeah, I love Trey Young. He would take Jalen Brunson and every guard on this team's lunch. Also, is it that there's no Adidas players on the team because they took all Nike guys, or is it that there's no Adidas players on the team because Austin Reeves, Bobby Portis, Walker Kessler, Cam Johnson, Josh Hart are on the team? Are those guys Nike guys? Do those
I
do those
think
guys have anything?
I think
Like,
they are.
good God, man. Like, what? I don't even know. Like, those guys are FootJoy guys. Those guys aren't Nike guys. Like, this roster is the weakest I've ever seen associated with Team USA anything. It just is what it is. Like, you can look back on the weird World Cup years where they lost or had issues and it was gross basketball, whatever. Those teams still had like a Hall of Famer there. Like, who's a no-brainer Hall of Famer on this team?
I mean, there's no. It's tough to make any of these guys no-brainer Hall of Famers because they're so damn early in their career.
Right. But like, that's my issue. It's like, it's an unserious roster. Like, to me, is stepping back broadly, I think like 20 years from now, if we look back at this roster, I think we're looking at like, okay, Paolo Banchero was on this roster. He's going to be awesome. I think he probably is a Hall of Famer one day.
Jaren,
Anthony Edwards should be. Outside of that, I don't think anybody is. I don't think.
Jaren,
I think Jaren's like maybe he makes an All-Star team or two.
he
Like,
already made one and was Defensive Player of the Year.
right. I think, did he actually make an All-Star team?
Yeah,
I'm fact checking it. I'm shocked by that.
Defensive Player of the Year too.
I knew he was Defensive Player of the Year, but like,
Okay, he didn't make an All-Star team.
he did.
He didn't.
I think he did. 2023 All-Star.
Oh, I
Yeah,
thought I made
made
that
him
up.
making
Yeah.
his first. You were actually right, and you dropped the ball right at the moment to take your victory lap.
Damn it.
But like, I don't know, man. I don't know, and I don't mean to be harsh because like at the end of the day, who cares? It's basketball and it's fun to watch, and it's the FIBA World Cup. Like, I hope they win. I'm not gonna be devastated if they don't. But like, if this team played a 7-game series against the Denver Nuggets right now, who wins?
I think Team USA wins.
I think the Nuggets win in 6.
No, I think Team USA wins.
Okay,
Probably
we'll see. I
6.
mean, part of it might just be familiarity. Like, maybe give this team a year to practice together, then maybe they would. But like, it's going to be interesting to see them play Luka because they're playing Luka soon.
They play Lucas Saturday.
Right. If Luka beats this team, what's the panic level for you?
But that Slovenian team's actually good, aren't they?
Are they better than the Denver Nuggets?
They got Jordan Morgan.
Jordan Morgan's their center, and the team's good now.
Okay, hold on. I'm not even worried about Luka now. God forbid I got to see Jordan Morgan put Jaren Jackson Jr. in hell. That's going to make my life all out. That will end the streak of episodes. I'm not recording Monday if that happens.
Yeah, that's all downside for you. There's no upside.
There's no upside because if Jaren Cooks, Jordan Morgan did it.
Yeah,
Jaren.
we'll see. I wanted to do a draft, like if we could fix this World Cup roster, who would we draft? And I think we might do that next week. But there's a lot of guys. I think if I'm going up and down, if I could pick 12 guys, and obviously you got to assume they would actually play, but if I could play 12 guys that are under a certain age, under a certain amount of whatever, all-stars, titles, whatever you want to call it, the only guys on this team I would have, I think, are Banchero, Edwards, Halliburton, Ingram, Jaren. I think that's it. And the other 7 are all like, shout out to the Nova guys. That's cute. They're friends. We get it. Like,
yeah.
Is that really what we're doing here? Like,
I mean, yeah, I say the same. Like, shit, I would even, like you said, like I would even take like Desmond Bain on this team over. I know you need like the Josh Hart types on the team, but I don't know.
do we? Do we need that? Like, isn't the reason he's on this team he's friends with Jalen Brunson?
He's just like a vibes guy. Like know how like Theo Pinson stays in the league. Like, not saying like Theo Pinson is like the same level as Josh Hart. Like, Josh Hart's just an all-time vibes guy, and you do need vibes guys in the locker room.
We got a few too many vibes guys on this team. That's all I'm saying. Like Bobby Portis is on his team. He better bring some great vibes, some fantastic vibes, my friend. Okay. So we're on the opposite sides on Team USA. I'm worried about it, but I don't care that I'm worried about it. You're not worried about it. Do you care? Or do you care either way?
I have a USA future that they win this.
Okay, so you do care.
Yeah.
Maybe I should place a future. That might get me to care on this. I'll hit you up offline at the end of the recording and we can figure that out. Let's talk about the Detroit Lions. We're going football for our final topic today. Reports that the scrimmage against the Giants yesterday resulted in a total evisceration. The Lions played them off the field, won every single element of this from every reporter I could find, both Lions reporters, Giants reporters, unbiased partisans that were just there. Red zone drill, dominated. Jahmyr Gibbs, multiple touchdowns. Aiden Hutchinson, multiple sacks. Gardner Johnson making plays and chirping at a former Lion who is now in the Giants secondary, telling him, you don't have the grit to be a Lion. Like, Goff had someone open every play, is the report. And the Lions just let them know about it and played them off the field. Where's your Lions hype meter at right now? You've downplayed everything this offseason until now.
I downplayed everything in my life with the Lions because if there's one thing that happens is when I get excited about this football team, or I guess I sip the Kool-Aid, it comes back to bite me. And I'm a lifelong Lions fan. My Sundays, hinge on Lions performances. Unfortunately, I know it's a very sad thing to hear, but it is the way it is. Shout out to my dad for instilling that one pride mentality in me. He could have made me a fan of any team, but didn't matter. I was in the Silver Dome, going through hell. What I will say is that I think that everyone should be on board and have expectations with this team and be excited about this team. Top 5 offensive line. We're going to have a top 10 offense. We're going to have defensive playmakers. That's key. We're going to have playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. That's not something we have. CJ Gardner-Johnson's going to be a playmaker. Year 2 of Hutch is going to be good. Like, we're going to have playmakers on the other side of the ball. I love the secondary signings. It is not unfair to expect this team to make the playoffs. I will be sad the Lions don't make the playoffs this year. They should make the playoffs. That should be the goal. And I'm not saying I need them to go far in the playoffs. Yes, I think I want them to win a playoff game. I think that'd be the first step into kind of shaking that old feel of same old Lions and same old that. But this team is going to make the playoffs. And then the hype is real, and I'm buying in.
Wow. I'm a little scared that I'm hearing you say these words.
I'm scared too, Greg. I am, but it's time for me to be serious. This team is making the playoffs. They are.
They're the best team in the division for sure. And I'm not a football expert by any means, but I know the rosters. I know that with Aaron Rodgers out and all of the momentum Detroit has this offseason and just jumps from guys, young guys that were good and promising in the second half of last season, like this team's the most talented team in the division. They also, back to your vibes guys point, there's a lot of vibes guys in this locker room. I think this locker room like loves each other and loves their coaching staff for the first time in decades of the Detroit Lions. Like, that's such a new feeling. And I think Dan Campbell deserves a lot of credit, man. Before a game is even played, like, now if they underachieve this year, I'll be the first guy to bring a pitchfork out and crucify him. But like right now, I couldn't be more in on the Dan Campbell era. And I can't believe I'm saying that after his first season was just him going for every fourth down and losing all the time because of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're saying that now, but wait till the first time he's just going for 4th and 16 from his own 30.
Are you a little bummed it's the Chiefs first? Because like it obviously it's gonna be fun. The night of, I won't be more excited for anything in the world than that. But like, doesn't it suck that we're probably starting 0-1?
It does, and it also sucks because if we do win that football game, you think people are excited now. Imagine if we beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead. It's gonna be insane.
Yeah.
And I don't want any of the media glazing either. We know where y'all stand. Stay on that side.
What did you make of Jared Goff's comments? He came out and basically said, "Oh, you know how our beat writers work. Like, we don't get any of the credit." Like, did you see that whole snippet?
Yeah, I did, but like, I just don't understand why he's attacking. Like, beat writers got to go through more hell on earth than anybody covering this Lions team. To be honest, like
Yeah.
they deserve to be. I guess, reserved. And I guess I'm the same way. So I guess I relate to like how the writers are, like being reserved, having some negative kind of thoughts about this. And then I don't know, they're just calling it like it is. Like this is a Lions team that has generally underachieved mostly. Like, and they were underachieving last year until we went on that run at the end of the season. Like, let's not forget this team was what, 1-6 to start the season, 1-5.
Yeah,
Like, they were stinking it up. So let's relax a little bit. But I'm very excited for this year. It's dangerous how excited I am.
I'm glad. It's good to see genuine optimism from you on anything, let alone the Lions.
What the hell? Are you calling me not optimistic?
Well, no, you're just a man who says you don't believe in dreams, and I think in general you like to be cynical, other than about Michigan State basketball.
I don't know how to feel about this.
Like, do you have a Detroit Lions dream?
Currently,
Yeah. Do you have a dream for the Lions, or are you? No, I don't have dreams. Screw that. Let's see what happens week
I just
one.
hope they win a playoff game. That's all I want.
That's a dream. So you're dreaming of a Detroit Lions playoff win.
It's a goal.
Very clear distinction there. Okay. I hope the Lions are good so we can keep talking about them, because I would like to spend time on the show talking about them as college football.
If they go to a Super Bowl, Gregory, we are there.
We're going.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going.
I'm in.
Like by any means, we're going.
Where is the Super Bowl this year?
Where is it this
See,
year?
that's how I know you're not prepared. You don't think this team can actually do it. You don't know already. If that was me, if that was me and I had genuine Super Bowl beliefs of this team, I know the date, everything, exactly where it is. But I don't. I don't have those beliefs.
Okay. Well, sorry. I didn't say anything about Super Bowl this year, did I?
I do have a Detroit Lions Bud Light in my fridge that I've had for 11 years now that has a sticky note super glued, taped like multiple times around it that says "Do not drink, saving for Lions Super Bowl." So I will be drinking that beer the moment the Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl, and I can't wait for it.
And I'll drive you to the hospital shortly after.
It will be fun. Let's end the show with one big thing presented by Bigby. Bigby is a place that you can get coffee. There are Bigby locations all over the country, Carter, but specifically in the state of Michigan, here in Kalamazoo and in Ferndale, where you live. Bigby, get your iced coffee at Bigby. What's your one big thing today, Carter?
My one big thing is gonna be non-sports related today, and it's gonna be about manners. Okay, it shocks me because I go out, around the city every single day. Maybe hit the grocery store, grab something from the corner store. It really mind boggles me that people just don't even say like a simple thank you or a you're welcome or just throw out a God bless you to someone who sneezes. Don't be like one of those people who like counts sneezes and be like, oh, I'm not saying God bless you. Manners go a long way. Saying thank you goes a long way. And it's extremely easy. And it's something I guess my parents instilled in me when I was younger, and that goes on to this day. Honestly, I'd probably take it too far. I still call adults that I've known my whole life Mr. and Mrs. I still say Mr. and Mrs. Waddell. I say Mr. and Mrs. Coburn to my wife's parents. Just the way I am. Have manners, say thank you, appreciate people in service who are doing things for you and doing their job. Just have some, I don't know, have some congeniality. Like be kinder, have some manners.
I like this energy. I think we need more kindness in the world in general. Maybe we've gone soft, though. Is that a soft statement?
No, that's the thing. I feel like people are just waking up bad nowadays. Like, wake up and go do something and do something nice today.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish the people in my mentions that are mad at me for all the off-season grades videos would take that to heart.
Hey, I mean, you see what I do, Greg. I get attacked in my mentions, and I usually just say, you know what, noted. Hope your day goes well.
What was your response to the guy yesterday?
I'm honest. I make mistakes. I'll be the second to admit it. That's why I need you in my mentions to check me when I'm tripping.
Yeah, respect. For all the dogs this week, you excited for that?
Oh, it's up.
Can't wait. Are we expect? You think it's going to be a top tier Drake album? I mean, I think we can admit there are hits and there are misses as far as Drake albums go.
I think it will be. And I don't know if this changes how you're going to feel about the album, Gregory. But as of like 2 hours ago, I'll be participating in a beer Olympics at 4 p.m. on Saturday.
Oh, the beer Olympics, the week you got to cut the day after a Drake album drops, and the Lions have buzz that they're Super Bowl bound and Michigan State's a top 5 team in the country. And Michigan's recruiting a Division II kid from North Idaho.
That is correct.
I'm terrified of you right now. Wow. Man, I'm glad one of us is doing well. My one big thing of the day, do you know what was happening exactly 4 years ago today?
4 years, your bachelor party.
This is my bachelor party 4 years ago today. I'm getting the whole like memories from 4 years ago videos are popping up on the timeline. First of all, wow, life has changed since then. Second of all, great week, arguably the greatest week of my life. Third of all, the first night of my bachelor party began primarily with we're all just sitting around a bonfire, having some beverages responsibly, of course. You were chopping wood throughout the night, but the night essentially culminated, built up to this big climax of a moment where you and I played a 7-game series of rock, paper, scissors. And every time someone lost, they had to take a pull from a bottle of tequila. I lost a lot of rock, paper, scissors games that night. And I just want the world to know you are incredible at rock, paper, scissors.
Thank you.
So much so to the fact that I want to play rock, paper, scissors against you right now.
Will it work?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we also note that you wore the candy stripe Indiana pants for the first day?
I did. Yeah, I was wearing, there were a lot of jerseys thrown around that week.
A Markelle Fultz Sixers jersey. There was some random stuff that
on shoot, of course.
All right, just one time or best 2 out of 3?
I think just one, right? This is a true test. This is a big moment for you.
All right, ready?
Just one. Yep.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
That's me. Wow. Hey, you know what? After we just realized the whole world is coming up, Car, you needed to be humbled. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to do my job. I'm here to hold you accountable. You haven't done shit yet, Car. You better win that Beer Olympics. You better not just show up to that Beer Olympics. You better dominate that Beer Olympics. And then you better tell people where they can find Sleepers Media on the way out, my friend. We are Sleepers Media, presented by Sleepers Media. We will be here again tomorrow, as we are every single Monday through Friday. Enjoy your Wednesday, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.